grab this camera.
I'm gonna put this away, or do you want it?
Either way. Alright, so both cameras are on. Okay, so here's the deal. I was shopping in with Valerie yesterday, and I decided I want to make chicken Alfredo pasta stuff. And Valerie said we could just go home and use Thrive stuff. Well, my knee-jerk reaction was, why would I use the freeze-dried Thrive stuff if I can do it fresh? And then I came up with this really silly plan that we could have a cook-off. She does her Alfredo her way, I do it my way, and we see which one's better. Now, we decided, and by we I actually mean me because I don't think I discussed it with her, that there are kind of three criteria we're looking at. One is which one is, let's say four. First two are really close related. Which one's fastest, which one's easiest. Those kind of go together. The slow one's going to probably be more involved and a little harder to do. Which one is easier with cleanup, and which one people like the taste of better. Because quite frankly, I don't care how quick and easy it is, or how easy cleanup is. If it's nasty, nobody should be forced to eat it.
Now, normally I would make my Alfredo with broccoli, but because we don't want our children to know whose is whose, we are forgoing the broccoli in mine. However, I expect that I'm going to have enough time to make me a jar of it, so I'll have it ready a different day, and I will put broccoli in that.
All right. Really quick, what we've done, we've gathered all of our materials. Valerie has that side of the kitchen. I have this side of the kitchen. The stove is mostly divided the same way. We haven't pre-measured anything. We haven't really prepped except to get out our materials that we need. We're going to simply cook it. It'll be obvious which one of us is faster because, well, that person will get finished first. We'll probably make weird noises at the other one. You know, nah. We never outgrew our childhood. We fit in with the kids well. Obviously, then we have to clean up, which for me will be leaving my stuff on the stove for Valerie to clean because that's what I do when I cook. So I'm not supposed to be that honest. And we are going to use small, we're going to put it into a big serving dish. Then we're going to dish out, for each of us, we're going to dish out small samples for our children, and we will, if we can get them to cooperate, have their responses, perhaps faces they make as they eat one or either or both of our stuff. But primarily, I'm interested in hearing from them what they think of it. I want words coming out of their mouth, not just a face an expression on their face. All right, you ready to go?
We're ready.
It is 7:04. That's not really relevant. We were going to do this separately, but since we're going to do it together, we don't need to know the time.
7:05.
Stand corrected, 7:05.
Let's note the time just to say how long does it take from start to finish.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Time is noted.
All right. Now for mine, I am using a recipe from Sabrina's Pantry.blogspot, and it's for, like I said, chicken broccoli Alfredo in a jar. And instead of putting it in a jar, we're putting it in our pot just to start. And I'm actually going to start with water in the pot. Everything's going to go in at once.
Okay, one thing I want to mention. I don't know exactly how we're going to do these cameras, but we actually have two cameras going. The one we're primarily looking at and talking to is obviously a camera. We also have attached my cell phone underneath the hood of the stove. In fact, my hands are probably in the way right there. Yeah, my hands in the way. So it actually will video the food cooking. We may, if we have software we can figure out how to do it, kind of splice them together so it goes back and forth. So if you see two different camera angles as this is going on, we aren't doing anything underhanded. It's just
two different cameras.
Jeez. Still in your scissors, I know about the chicken. Real fast, what I'm doing is not from a recipe. It is simply common sense cooking. And it's easy cooking. I got pre-packaged individual thing of skinless, boneless chicken breast. I have a package of egg noodles, and I have a jar of sauce. So no real fancy cooking, except for the chicken is primarily heat. Do you need this? Nope. I'll leave them up here. Okay, that's not. That's probably going to be leaky juice.
This is Thrive's bechamel sauce. It's a creamy white sauce that you can use to make Alfredo sauce. That's a big one for it.
What do you mean that's a big one for it? I mean that's a big way to do Alfredo sauce, or it's a big use of this particular product?
It's the biggest use for this particular product, is making Alfredo sauce. And this is sour cream powder to get that cream in it. Chopped onions. Garlic powder. Italian seasoning. Thrive also sells an Italian seasoning, but I don't have it yet.
Should we tell them in the interest of full disclosure you're a Thrive consultant?
I am a Thrive consultant.
Which means you sell this.
I sell it. So if you like what you see, you can go to my website, valeriebaugh.thrivelife.com, and order it yourself.
Unless you're me, I'm not allowed to order stuff. You tell me not to. You know, it's kind of like car talk with the two brothers.
Yes.
Except we're not quite as funny as they are.
This is Thrive's Chef Choice All-Purpose Seasoning. I like to use it in just about everything.
Tell me what this is. What is it? So you like to use it in everything.
So it is salt, spices, their secret recipe, onion, garlic, chili powder, dextrose, citric acid, sugar, and natural flavor. It's kind of got a bite to it because it has the chili pepper in it. But I'll use it in my eggs or my chicken salad, my chicken Alfredo, stroganoff.
Multi-use spice.
Multi-use spice.
It's their proprietary spice blend.
So this is chicken bouillon. Our bouillon is vegetarian and non-GMO. Most of our products are non-GMO. It's gluten-free. It adds some really nice flavor in place of chicken broth. This recipe calls for chicken slices, which are seasoned chicken slices, which are more like chunks, like what Matthew would be making. But I don't have any in stock right now, so I'm using my chopped chicken, and the jar is upside down because we had issues with the can opener. So this is more like bite-sized pieces. Kind of like more like shredded chicken than chicken chunks. This is where I'd also put in my broccoli, but I'm not doing that. So now I'm ready to add my noodles.
Did you already explain why you weren't adding the broccoli? No, you told me. You stayed at the camera.
So I'm not adding the broccoli so that our children don't know the difference between the two dishes, because
I'm not doing broccoli, and she didn't want hers to look too obviously different.
this recipe calls for 1 cup of noodles, but I add more because it goes farther to feed our family.
Now you mentioned you are doing a jar also. Did you mention that already? Or just telling
I
you that?
did mention it.
Okay, sorry, I can't remember what you told me and what you told the camera. With the jar, tell me about what would be different if you were doing this out of a jar instead of with your canned ingredients.
So the difference with a jar is that all of the ingredients would be in the jar instead of me putting it in individually. So I would start it with the water and I would just open it and dump it in, stir it, and turn it on.
Now, there have been a couple of times you've given me jar recipes that all I have to do is add hot water. So I have that hot water heater, that kettle at work.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that could be, if it weren't for the egg noodles, you obviously need boiling water, a little bit more than just what a kettle would produce. Could this be done in a jar like that, where I would take it to work, add hot water to it, and cook it inside the jar?
Yes, and actually I have done noodles that way.
Oh, okay.
It just takes a lot longer because they sit instead of getting boiled.
Right.
So I've made a lasagna soup with noodles. I've done
In the jar.
in the jar. So and in fact, if I were to use this jar and do like a 1 serving of this, you could cook the whole thing in here, close the lid, and just let the noodles soften.
Okay.
So this could make a decent take to work lunch or camping or whatever. So everything is in here. It's getting ready to cook. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to make my jar recipe. And I am out of Italian seasoning, so this jar will not have Italian seasoning, but it will have everything else. So the time is 7:14 and my stuff is already cooking.
My chicken's almost chopped up. I always estimate this is about a pounded chicken, but I think it may be a little bit more. That's my excuse for going so slowly. It's more than I expected. Good excuse, right?
It'll go farther.
I like carton.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really much what we're doing though.
When I think of car talk, I think of cars.
So do I actually. I think of the scene where it has the people from Car Talk there as sponsors. And they said the same thing on the show, just they did until recently. So sad.
It is. So chopped onions are one of my favorite things from Thrive because they are so easy.
Alright, so I'm going to throw away the bristly parts of the chicken real fast. Alright. Start doing my knife almost. So like I think I've already said, hopefully I have said it, I'm not actually following a recipe, just kind of doing common sense stuff here. I'm going to fry my chicken with a little bit of butter because I like pretending like the butter makes it taste better than if it was just oil. And I totally messed up my little butter wrapper. Put a little more butter in there. rest of this will go on a butter dish. You don't need a spatula, are you?
Nope.
Some water so I can start boiling my noodles.
So here's the broccoli. You can see it's chopped up in really fine pieces. I enjoy eating it straight out of the can, kind of like popcorn, a healthy popcorn. Some people have a hard time getting over the idea of freeze-dried vegetables.
Sorry.
Not to name any names.
You're breaking up. I couldn't hear you. Treacle.
Probably need microphones.
Well, the one on the stove should hear it pretty well. The camera, the good camera is not as nice.
I found the broccoli softens up really nicely in the water, and it will heat up just fine and have.
That's probably more than water.
Yeah, we probably could have used different pans. My noodles are already starting to get soft, even though it's not boiling. Since I'm not adding the broccoli, this may be more liquidy than normal. These were just American Beauty brand egg noodles. Thrive does sell egg noodles also. They are thin strips instead of the curly Qs. Only 1 cup is going to fit in here, but I know that when I feed it to my family, I'll need to add more later. The only thing that isn't in this jar that needs to be there is Parmesan cheese. We do sell freeze-dried Parmesan cheese. I just don't have any in stock. So here is where it gets really cool. I am going to vacuum seal this, and it will be good for, some people say 4 to 5 years. I would say it's probably for sure good as long as the shortest shelf-life ingredient, which is probably the bouillon, which is 1 year. Let me double check. 1 year for the sour cream, 1 year for the bouillon, 1 year for bechamel. So it's still going to taste good longer than a year, but guaranteed freshness or nutrition, optimum nutrition, will say for a year. It's probably not even going to last on my shelf for a year.
Probably not. It's pure